Welcome to episode 1 of what I suppose is my competition prep. So yet to have a name for the series, so if anyone's got any good ones, fire them through. I might put out a little poll this week to kind of think of some names, because for me, I just want to train, eat and do, and we'll sort of capture it along the way. Yeah, all I want to kind of do is an insight as to kind of what I do, how I go about my own things, and hopefully give some tips and bits and pieces across the way. Yeah, so like I say, we'll just go from there and we'll get ourselves sorted. So starting off now, we're going to head for a pull session. First and foremost, we'll start with the pre-workout meal. So at the moment, pre-workout has changed for me a touch. I was previously having sort of a bigger meal, cream of rice meal, sort of an hour to 2 hours before. Chopped and changed that round a touch just to have a bigger meal, sort of 2 hours before. I've eaten about 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago, which was a chicken rice and a sort of seed butter, so sunflower seed butter, the heavy meal there. Allow that to digest, and now sort of pre-training we will go to a lighter meal, which will be sort of 60 grams of whey, 30 grams of nut butter and 100 grams of banana. I just prefer, I get a lot more out of that meal, and I feel a lot better kind of going into my sessions lighter. Like I say, in the past I suffered a touch kind of going in, even though I was putting my meals back to 1.5 to 2 hours pre-workout, I was just starting to feel a little bit sluggish. So I feel the heavy meal's gone in, that's digested, and we'll have a sort of shorter acting meal now pre-workout, as well as obviously the coffee and the flavour drops. So yeah, we'll get onto that now. Here's the copy of the Bible, here's the food, workout days, rest day meals, and we'll go through that as we go and kind of go along. I'll try and give an insight to say what I'm doing, and yeah, hopefully educate. You can pick some bits up across the way or not. So yeah, we'll go from there. So we'll get the coffee started with our flavour drops. So we start with, we've got 60 grams of whey. Okay, so we start with 60 grams of whey, 100 grams of banana, and we have 30 grams of sunflower seed butter. And always on my pre, I do anyway, most of my meals I'll heavily salt. On my pre, I kind of heavily salt a little further. Just for some extra sodium in there, a little splash of water. So yeah, like I said, the reason I'll sort of eat this half an hour to 40 minutes pre-training is I do like to have something a little bit lighter on my stomach. In the past, sort of had things that maybe been a bit heavier, oats and stuff. Although eating sort of an hour to 2 hours pre-training, I do like to kind of go in feeling a little bit lighter into a session. So we switched this up, and yeah, I've felt good from there. So we'll just get that in the microwave. I'm not sure what's longer, a minute in the microwave or a minute on the treadmill. I'm yet to decide. I think it's the microwave. So yeah, aside from the sort of obviously the meal going in, pre-workout tends to be for me sort of sitting. I'll just sort of finish off today. I'm finishing off some client work. Got a couple of new starters for the week, and then yeah, that's kind of it. Sometimes we used to be a case of watching some videos sort of pre-workout, which I used to do. And I sometimes still, but I've got a little bit of work to finish off today, so I'll just kind of crack through, answer some voice notes, and go from there. Okay, perfect. So pre-workout meal in, feeling good, coffee in. We just head down to the gym now. Yeah, like I said, we're going to go meet the rest of the crew. So we've got Lauren, who's also competing, same as me, going to be 12 weeks out, and then Mum, number one training partner, puts me through my paces and keeps me grounded, keeps me doing as I'm told. So we're going to meet them, and as I said, we head down and we'll go through today's pull session. So yeah, pull for me is good. Happy with where we're at in terms of numbers. We are just sort of having to be a bit more mindful this prep with where we can sort of push on bits and pieces. For me, the key to this prep is kind of getting through injury free. In the past, I've sort of chased certain things that I maybe shouldn't have chased, and maybe not picked my battles correctly, and it's kind of, I've been on a good run, it's pulled me back, and it's kind of been back and forth. So being a little bit more sensible and mindful this year with some of the lifts, As for me, emotions can for sure take over, certainly through the workout. And like I say, we're just trying to just control that and just make sure we progress at the rate we need to progress. So today's pulls off the floor will be a stiff leg pull from the floor, which is good. Like I say, numbers are in a good spot, so I'm just going to try and see if we can move that up. But yeah, feeling good. 12 weeks out, weights are starting to drop now a touch on me, but my strength's kind of pushing a touch, which is cool. It's nice to see both starting to get a touch leaner, which we need to. There's still plenty more work to be done. And then I'm kind of go from there. But like I say, food's in a good spot, appetite's good, training feels good, so it's a case of just kind of going through the motions and doing the do.
On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, just a 7Cs. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off with my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me.
So we've started with a stiff leg pull from the floor. Warmed through, feel good. So just going to go after, it's my first working set now. So we're just going to see how the bar feels good moving from the floor. So we're just going to, see what we can do. Let's. Pulls went okay. First set was one up on last week's. Bar felt good from the floor. A couple of reps in, it kind of moved off the line a touch. So yeah, but felt good. I felt it moved fast on the floor. So second set, I felt good. I felt there was more in the tank. So I decided to go up a touch. So I touched 190 for 4, which will therefore, I'll strip that back next week. And I'll make my 180 feel a touch lighter, try and push it up to 8. I like to kind of go with my lighter set first, just from sort of an injury prevention point of view. Like I said, that felt good. Like I say, it's kind of come offline a touch, but still moved okay, so I was happy to kind of go up. And that's kind of how I judge my sets, a touch at the moment, but that felt good. So yeah, depending on how the warm-ups go next week, I might start at 190, try and push that for a 5. And like I say, it's important for me to try and touch new weight at all times, because like I say, by touching that for a 4, will therefore make the 180 next week feel a touch lighter. And that's kind of how I've been able to progress my lifts over sort of the last however long I've been, sort of this last off season for sure. Yeah, like I said, just by touching new weight has allowed me to kind of come back and make what were heavier sets feel much lighter for me. So now we're going to go into a single arm pull down. This is going to be more lat focused. I like to do a lot of my pull movements unilaterally. I feel sometimes with pull downs especially, I sort of take over from one side, and I have done in the past, and So now I'm just looking to, like I say, doing them unilaterally, one arm at a time, allows me to kind of get a more even stimulus across the board. But for sure, this is how I like to do a lot of my pull work. Like I say, either or, whatever works. But for me, when I pull, I often find that I pull out one side, so I try and break them down into single arms, and it's helped match up over time. With this stuff, especially trying to make it lat focused, what I'll try and do on here is I'll drop the shoulder weight down, and I'll drag the elbow down in towards the hip. So leaning back a touch, and that elbow path stays in front, the shoulder gets dropped, and we drag the elbow down into the hip. And this helps get a better, it's more the natural line, the angle of the lat will take. So that's how I'm trying to do that. So what I'm trying to do when warming up is you see I only do sort of a couple, 2 to 3 to 4 maybe. On the first movement it tends to be a lot more. But as you'll see, I'm kind of warming through the weights, so I'm getting a feel for each weight as it goes, but not doing too many reps where I exhaust myself. I think what a lot of people do is, for their warm-ups, for example for a bench press, they'll do how many plates, they'll do 10, out of plate do 10. By the time they get time to working set, they've done sort of 50, 60 reps. This will 100% take away from your working set, so I do enough reps to kind of feel the movement and warm the muscle, but not too many reps that it takes away from the working sets. For me, I'm very about sort of the working sets being as intense as possible. I don't want anything that's going to impact those sets, but like I say, enough reps to warm the muscle and get a feel for the movement. That's important, and when I'm ready to go, I'm fresh enough to still make progress. Behind the scenes. So just finished single arm pull down, which is good. As you might have seen on the first set, I incorporate a 2-second hold, especially with pull movements and back movements. So I've struggled in the past with contraction. I think this year, by adding in a sort of forced contraction, a forced or a timed hold, certainly made me find it easier to sort of get that mind muscle connection to then take into my next set, where I'll probably push the weight up. So the first set will be of a good weight, for whatever the rep range would be, with a 2-second hold. From there, once I've kind of got the feel for the movement and taken that to failure, and then happy to put the weight up, and then just subconsciously then I feel the contraction much better. So we'll do the same again on here. Again, we're going to start with single arms, similar to a pull down. With this, I feel like I pull out one side a little more, so I try to just eradicate that and isolate one arm at a time. As you may have seen in between, so obviously Lauren's training push, Mum's training with me, so I kind of just help it in between, which is cool. Lauren's obviously on the same journey as me, so it's important that we help each other. She puts up with me, so the least I can do is spot her for a couple of reps, so she deals with my tantrums and obsessive lifestyle. But yeah, it's cool. So we'll get some clips of that as well and film what she's doing. Unfortunately, we're not training together today, but don't let that sort of stop us from kind of getting some clips of that as well. But yeah, we're going to take this into a single arm. First set again, we'll do with 2-second hold, and again we're looking to hit the sort of lower lat, more of a lat focused movement. So we'll be dropping the shoulder and driving that elbow down into the hip. I only tend to do the holds for the first couple of movements, just as from then onwards it's just difficult once the muscles start to get tired to then sort of get the muscles short. So to then put extra stress on the holds later into the session, I just feel there's no merit. I feel like it just holds back at kind of progression and bits and pieces. So yeah, we'll just work through this again as we do, warming up to get a feel for the movement, but again not too much to take away from the top sets. So we'll just we'll go from there. And when I'm warming up for these movements, I'll try and exaggerate that sort of drop of the shoulder to get a good feel for the lat if I can. Again, when I take this into my working sets, then subconsciously that sort of movement kicks in. So I feel like I'm talking a lot about warm-up sets, but it's important. They're incredibly useful when used right to not only get a good feel for the movement, not only to warm the movement, but then I feel like from a performance point of view, I perform a lot better if I can go through the movements, feel the movement properly, And like I say, when it comes to my top set, I'm using muscles, not momentum, ligaments and bits and pieces to sort of move the weight, and I get an awful lot more. And that for sure has been one of the differences between my sort of back improvements this year. So, or any improvements, warm-up sets are important when used correctly. Boom! Boom! Thank you. Okay, perfect. So we finished both our lower lat movements, so the single arm pull down into the single arm row. We're now going to start to work up into the upper back. So we've got a couple of upper back movements. What I'll do with my two pulls, I've got two rotations. So my next session, my next rotation of pulls, I'll start with upper back movements. Then once they're fatigued, I'll work into the lower. So I like to rotate them. So I've gone into this session with the lower lat being worked at its strongest. Now the upper back's going to be slightly fatigued from what we've done. And then the next session, I'll obviously rotate them. So yeah, we're going to work into a chest supported dumbbell row. For me, I like to do this. I've used a T-bar or a barbell row in the past, but for me now, I don't like to fatigue my lower back too much through the session. So I like to take that out and just make sure we focus on the back movements, just because I then train legs in a couple of days. And with the lower back being fatigued, it can start to then translate over into that session. So obviously we've pulled from the start, so that's my lower back loading movement. I won't lower back load more than once now in these sessions, just to make sure I'm fresh and recovered for, especially on prep as food starts to drop. Right now I feel fine, but as the weeks go on, it will. Yeah, like I said, I just like to minimise any room to hinder recovery. So yeah, we'll work through here. This is a slightly different sort of movement to kind of what we've done for the lower lat. Just walk through. So keeping that chest supported. Ho! Oh! Ho! 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 Oh! Oh! Cool, so we're just going to finish off our back movements with the sort of pull down, but as you'll see when we get into it, we're going to use handles. Again with this, I just feel sometimes I kind of pull out one side a bit more, so I feel this is a bit more, I get more engagement through the lat with doing this, and again it's more of an upper back pull down. So we're going to finish here. First set's going to be normal straight set. Second set we'll do with a held stretch, just to finish this off, and then we're going to finish off with a little bit of rear delts and biceps. But yeah, so the last sort of back movement to go in now. Just finishing off the session, wrapping up with some biceps. Again, probably a bit of a common theme. I'm going to do these unilateral again, just do one at a time for me. Things to use in the barbell, I'm prone to pulling out of one side, so there's a few imbalances I try and sort of level out. And over the off season, for sure, working one at a time has helped sort of even those things out. And for me, I just get an awful lot more from doing the single biceps especially. And like I said, I've used bars and bits and pieces, and I just find I just don't get the same contraction, the same feel. So I like to just break these down into singles. I found for me, for sure, they've been the most efficient for growing. My arms are pretty stubborn, but I feel like putting these in, it's helped massively. So yeah, just gonna do two sets of these to finish. And as you'll see, everything's kind of been 2 sets to all out failure. For me, it's probably I'm in a good spot in terms of recovery. I can recover from them 2 sets and still progress them, especially now as we're not too close to the show, but coming in as food starts to drop, I feel it is important to sort of monitor and look after that. But for now, we feel pretty good. Right, so that's a wrap. Pull session done. Happy, good session. Progressed across all movements today, which is cool. Still getting stronger. 12 weeks out, which is perfect. Like I say, just managing recovery down to volume, and obviously just prioritising rest this year for me, for sure. With the shifts that I work, I've neglected sleep in the past, for sure, but this year I'm just being super anal, super strict with making sure I get to bed on time and switching my phone off, switching the lights off, getting to sleep, and that's made a huge difference to my performance, which is good. Like I say, so that's kind of that done. Over the next couple of 12 weeks, more few months, we'll kind of get an insight to a bit more. Like I say, today was just the start of kind of a bit of home life journey down, and then into the first pull session. And I know I joke and show off and do what I do, but having a support system as I do it is super important to kind of what I do. I do the easy bit. I enjoy this side of it, kind of, and I get to eat, which is easy. So yeah, having the support around me with everything else I do, it's an incredibly selfish sport, is super important. So I'm always grateful for that, and grateful for everyone who's watched, and thank you very much. And I think through what, like and subscribe, is that what we do? And yeah, let's do all that and keep supporting, and hopefully I'll bring you some more content. And comment below on the things that you want to see. Like I say, I'm an open book. That's just I just thought I wanted to show you kind of my few bits today, but if there's more that'll be helpful and beneficial, then please just drop them in and we'll go from there. But thank you very much, and yeah, thank you.